So can you give us a little bit of a history of that and how you specifically started getting involved and what drew you to like your first contact with methylene blue?
Methylene blue is a very complex molecule, and it's not something that is easy to just give an elevator version of this molecule. But the real benefit with methylene blue lies in its ability to support the mitochondria. Another really exciting aspect of methylene blue is it's neuroprotective and cardioprotective. You want to talk about a rocket ship to health and wellness, this is the recipe.
Well, I mean, that leads into the next question very smoothly. So how does methylene blue influence autophagy and mitophagy processes, and what implications does it have on aging and longevity?
Well, that's really fascinating. So I've always been really interested with this feast and famine rhythm, right? Rhythms. We look at rhythms in the body and we want to honor those rhythms. And one of the rhythms that most people, until I think recently it's become a lot more popular, is to understand this rhythm of feeding and fasting. And so when we're feeding, we think that we're going to be building new cells and tissues. And there's a gene pathway called mTOR, which stands for mammalian target of rapamycin. And so this was based on this bacteria found in Rapa Nui Island, and they found that this gene pathway was expressed and it extended life, blah, blah, blah. And so this is what happens is basically when we stimulate the opposite of this feeding and this mTOR gene expressed, where we inhibit mTOR and we go into more of a fasting zone, this is where the body recycles. And so the word autophagy is self-eating, and this comes from a Greek word, right? Autophagy. And this is where we take old, dead, and dying and weak components and we recycle them into new ones. And this is really important, especially within the mitochondria, because our mitochondria become old and weak. And we also have cells that become what's called senescent, permanent state of sleepiness, which just spew a ton of inflammation in the body. So if we can clean up these senescent cells and we can update and upgrade our mitochondria on a much more robust fashion, boy, you want to talk about a rocket ship to health and wellness. This is the recipe.
Yes, sir. And just for the viewer, like, what's your typical protocol? Like for you personally, how much are you using, and are you using orally typically?
So generally, I'm kind of in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Within that dosage regimen, it's anyone would be hard pressed to find any negative concerns as far as side effects or, there's a lot of people out there that will say that because there's an SSRI and an MAOI inhibitor contraindication, it's really dose dependent. It's not a black or white. And the challenges that they've seen clinically with what's called serotonin syndrome, because methylene blue works on serotonin and can elevate serotonin. And also, if you were to stack that on certain medications that increase serotonin, you can get into this dangerous zone where they call a serotonin storm. And if it gets too severe, it can actually be lethal. So we really don't want to get anywhere close to having that type of problem. And so most of the problems that they saw were very large doses of methylene blue and done IV. And these were done with people that were on SSRIs. So if we stay in the lower dosage, people ask about microdosing, right? Which like psilocybin and LSD can work on serotonin. These are really, really low doses, and I haven't seen any problems with that. And I do feel confident saying that if you're below the 2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, you're well within the safety. There shouldn't be any concern with that.
And you do it daily, yeah?
What's that?
You do it daily?
I take it every 10 or 2 weeks. I take a couple days off.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just do it every other day. It makes it easier for me to remember.
Yeah, that works.
So I know that obviously you've talked about methylene blue being a photo sensitizer that it's activated and absorbs red light, near infrared to enhance mitochondrial function. So how have you seen it specifically work synergistically with red light therapy and protocols, and what kind of results have you seen it produced?
Well, we do some protocols here at the clinic where we're using a device called a Helios.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do what's called a brain protocol, where we'll do an intravenous stem cell IV, and we'll use intravenous gold and intravenous methylene blue.
Mm-hmm.
Combine those together, and then intravenous mannitol is kind of like the secret that allows the stem cells to get through the blood-brain barrier into the brain. And then we've got this big helmet, and we'll send you some real cool footage. Maybe you're showing it right now, and you can see here, this is our Helios, and this is an individual that is getting their cranium irradiated by these photons. And just imagine having methylene blue on board within the brain there. It's going to kind of soak and sponge up all those photons more effectively.
So basically, it acts like almost like a magnet, where it just kind of like attracts the red light deeper into
like a magnet or a sponge.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we also work with prostate, and we have we call it's like a probe that goes in the rectum, and so we do an ultrasound guided injection of methylene blue, and then we actually expose the prostate to this light. And we do a semen test on our cases, and most men are carrying some level of infection in their prostate. So we look at what antibiotics would work against that, and so we create like a treatment plan specifically towards men dealing with prostate conditions. And this is very, very successful. So much so we're actually kind of gearing up to do some clinical research through our nonprofit foundation.
Yeah.
We're supposed to send Carlos as
Yeah,
a
I'm
test
not- I'm
dummy
not-
because
I'm
he
not-
has the prostate of an elephant.
I'm not so excited about the probe up my butt, but in the name of science, I'll do it.
Awesome. So yeah,
We usually will hand it to you, and we'll leave the room, and it's very thin.
No, that's worse. That's
No big
worse.
deal.
That's worse, man.
Yeah.
A colon cleanse where I had to do it myself, and that was
We'll put the lubrication on there for you. No worries. Oh shit, Carlos, we forgot the lubrication. Gosh, okay. I would so much bleeding.
well, for real, I'm gonna get in touch with your group to send him as a test dummy, and eventually
I've had some. I don't have any symptoms, but the PSA has been going up for some weird reason, and we don't know. I don't have any symptoms at all.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to go through the protocol and see how it works.
Yeah. So how does methylene blue compare to SSRIs for depression, and what role do you see it playing in boosting cognition or treating conditions like Alzheimer's or some form of dementia?
Oh, great questions. Well, they've done some studies on methylene blue with beta amyloid plaquing, these tau proteins.
Yeah.
So what I think a lot of people really need to know about these proteins is that it's actually your immune system, and it's a normal process. And so in the beginning, especially big pharma, looking for a drug to mop up these amyloid plaques, failed miserably. And the reason is that it's like the amyloid plaques are there doing their job. And so if we look at more of a root cause type of thing, like what's triggering the immune system to want to encapsulate things, because that's what these proteins do, is they're actually made to wrap around particles, toxins, or infections to wall it off from the immune system within the brain, which is the glial cells. And these glial cells are like chihuahuas with a bazooka. Once they get triggered, they'll just start blasting away and blasting away. And we don't want that. And that's why we don't want the immune system being exposed to these things. And that's why we wall them off with these different tau proteins. And So the problem is the toxins or the infections. And so when we can diagnose that they're, what toxins they are, if they're heavy metals or they're different types of man-made chemicals, or possibly they have a chronic infection like Epstein-Barr or Lyme disease or something like that, then we treat those and we're going to have a much better long-term benefit as far as like if we were to look at an Alzheimer's case. And this is what most of the experts are saying these days, is that we really need to look at the root cause there. And the application that methylene blue seems to have is it seems to help clear up these amyloid plaques.
Interesting.
Yeah. So some really exciting research, but it's also antimicrobial. So you have to almost wonder, is it doing that because it's actually treating more of the root cause where it's helping us detox things out? I know like with high dose melatonin, which we use quite a bit, and I'm equally as excited about that molecule as I am about methylene blue, but that purges heavy metals out of the brain. And so that combination of a higher dose melatonin with methylene blue for these brain conditions would really be, I think, your best approach.
Hey guys, so many patients ask us, what are the best cold plunge options out there for health, recovery, and longevity?
Yeah, and after testing most major brands out there, from really fancy, expensive ones to some that just didn't cut it, we found the perfect pod, the Ice Pod.
Whether you're looking for muscle recovery, immunological boost, improved sleep, or all of the above, we found the Ice Pod to be the most cost-effective and reliable option out there.
You can get this whole setup, which comes with a full filtering system, a chiller, which can sustain temperatures of 37 degrees, plus accessories, all for under $1,500. So go to our website under MHI Recommends to get your discount code and check out some of the other lifestyle hacks. For now, stay healthy.
And God bless.
Yeah, and it really interesting about microbial properties. I remember when I saw you in Texas, I was going through, I don't know if it was something in the air, but I got some infection in my eye. It was like a microbial, like pink eye. And luckily your booth was there, and I went and did the drops, and in a day,
The methylene blue with the quintin
in
and
a
the
day
gold.
it was gone. I mean, the doctor, our doc was trying to call in some prescription antibiotic, and I'm like, you know what? Let me try methylene blue, and boom, next day it was gone.
Yeah, nice.
Amazing stuff.
That's what my experience has been with any infections.
Yeah.
Styes, dry eye, you
Mhm.
know. It's really also, we use it a lot with our breath work and almost ceremonially in the morning, as just the eyes are where we absorb the most photons out of anywhere, any organ in our bodies. To support the eyes with something that has a photodynamic aspect to it, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, John, talking about eyes, because I use your drops all the time in the morning, especially, I try to really stick to my schedule, a chronotype schedule of waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, and I get up, I ground outside, I use the methylene blue drops. So if I'm understanding correctly, those methylene blues are helping me absorb those electrons to my body. It's stimulating the melanopsin cells in my eyes to start producing more serotonin, and then it basically turns off all the switches that should be off at night, turns on all the switches that should be on during the day through the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is the master regulator of our circadian rhythm. So it's enhancing that. Is that what it's doing?
Our favorite gland, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, goes right to our favorite gland, right?
To the pineal or third eye or whatever you want to call
I
it.
like to call it the pineal, but because it's pine cone.
Yes.
But Joe Dispenza has popularized pineal, which to me sounds too much like penis.
I'm with you.
And I don't like that word.
I'm with you. I like yours better.
I don't know if we can swear.
knew.
I have a friend who
knew
says, is it a cock or a penis? It's a cock.
There you go. All right. So you've spoken a lot about combining NAD plus with methylene blue for mitochondrial repair, right? And I mean, what, for the average listener, what makes this duo so effective for energy and cellular resilience? to break down, basically break it down how it works together, specifically in cases with brain fog, burnout, and chronic fatigue, and just for cognitive function. Like we work with a lot of high-level CEOs and stuff like that, and so brain function becomes really important. So how have you seen it work? Oh, putting your foot in your mouth. Putting your foot in your mouth.
You know what? I got to give you props, man.
Yeah, man.
You left me flabbergasted about, that you were in the elevator and your leg came off and you're like, wait, my leg. And to find the humor in what you've gone through, it is so inspiring, man. I got to really give you credit for that. Like, wow, you could have had all the right to look at it from the worst angle possible. Like, what the hell? I lost my leg. Am I going to be able to surf? All these things, because you're like us. You're a very active, high performance dude. And to just embrace it and just find the fun in it has been inspiring in my life. Personally,
I'll tell you, for me, it just proves that all your spiritual training has really paid off with the way that you've been able to handle that loss, and been able to own it, right? And
I've had some really, really great support like you, but people like you in my life has made all the difference in the world, and I've had a life of giving, right? It was easy to give, and then all of a sudden you're in a situation where it's like, it's time to receive, and the more I found I could open myself to receive, allowing the love into the heart, right? I was I want to put it out into the world, but then I'm laying in bed, and it's you got nothing else but to just receive at that point. And that's been a really great gift for me to really just embrace.
Yeah, man.
Amen to that, man.
Nothing more than inspiring, bro. So we send you a lot of love and strength for sure.
And I hope the day you do want to go surfing, we can be right there next to you, helping you.
We're gonna do an event.
I have the best time of my life doing that.
We're gonna do an event, and Garrett is gonna be available with we're having some VIP event where you're gonna go out to Nazaré and you can get pulled in. You guys need to do that.
Please let us know.
Okay.
We'll sign up tomorrow. We're gonna do it tomorrow and go.
Yes, I know.
If I die there, my life has been completed.
It's gonna be so much fun.
For real.
You're on the list.
I'm gonna take
on the list.
People's in mind. For real.
Yeah. So
all right. So back to your question.
Plus and methylene blue for brain function.
Brain fog, chronic fatigue.
I absolutely love to talk about combining methylene blue and melatonin together. Yeah. And these two molecules, I, as you both know, I've written books on both of them, right? Melatonin, Miracle Molecule, and Magic Bullet with methylene blue. And they're available on Amazon. Lonnie,
I would recommend
my dog is scratching and she's got that dog collar.
Yeah.
Okay, so they work on the mitochondria. They work on the mitochondria very uniquely. One of them more lubricates the electron transport chain and works with light, and that we talked about that already. That photodynamic aspect. Where melatonin, it's present in every single mitochondria in your body, and it's produced within the mitochondria as the number one premier antioxidant above anything else. Okay. And when you look at the cycle of making energy, you can find melatonin. It's on the bottom component, usually when people draw it out. And what happens is that when our stress level at a cellular level, which shows up as cytokines, which is inflammation, right? So the stress shows up, and the cell can only handle so much stress based on the energy that it has available to adapt to that stress, right?
Right.
And so when it exceeds that ability to adapt to the stress, then it switches into what's called the cell danger response. And the Warburg effect is probably what you guys are more familiar, especially Miguel, right? With cancer, the Warburg effect.
Yes.
Yeah. We're talking to John Catanzaro about that yesterday. Yeah.
Right. So this is in essence, it's where the mitochondria says, it's like imagine that you're like living in this really dirty, you're working in this disorganized environment, and you show up to work and you say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. it's not a good working environment for me. And that's basically what the mitochondria do. They said, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's too much. Mitochondria shuts down, and the energy then has to be made in a part of the cell called the cytosol, which is basically like the empty space inside the cell.
Wait, cytoplasm or cytosol? I thought it's a cytoplasm, which is what.
Sorry, cytoplasm.
Okay, yeah, which keeps it keeps the whole entire cell together, all the components of the inner cell together.
Yeah, so the energy is only 10% as much as you would get if you made it through the mitochondria. So it's a lot more efficient, and it makes a lot more energy when it's maintained in the mitochondria. And so what the melatonin does is it captures that and pulls it back into the mitochondria.
Wow.
It allows the cell to endure more stress before it goes into this switching, this cell danger. That
sounds like creatine monohydrate. It just helps in that loop cycle, bringing it back and recycling it.
Right. So we think about resilience, cellular resilience, like what can you endure, right? I mean, how many miles can you run? How many stairs can you go up? How's your grip strength? How's, your ability to stay in a meeting and stay focused and not start drifting off and have that strength neurologically? Like all of these things are going to really mean like how your mitochondria are functioning. And the more effective your mitochondria are functioning, the more stress that your body can endure without shutting down, you're going to have better mitochondria. And so when you take methylene blue and kind of lubricate the system, and then you take melatonin, and there's just so many stressors that we're exposed to in these days, right?
Yeah.
And all of these stressors matter, and they accumulate, and they drag down your mitochondrial function. Do you mind? Thank you. Dog.
The
dog, yeah. Mine are running around here, by the way.
So actually, I wanted to ask you a question because my original question was on methylene blue and NAD, but this is way more exciting, so I'll skip that. My question.
I thought. Okay, you said you didn't. I thought you said.
No. With
NAD and methylene blue.
yeah.
The next question is going to be
was
about melatonin.
was going to be about melatonin. So you answered that question. I was talking about methylene blue combined with NAD plus, and how have you seen those two interact?
Yes. We often will have people. Oh, look at you! Hey, puppy.
He's a little swimmer. He's on testosterone therapy, on peptides, bioregulators, NAD, magnesium, electrolyte, quinton. I mean, this guy is on everything.
How about melatonin?
I've never thought of melatonin, but we can talk off camera of that.
I'm going to redo my book. I'm going to release the second edition with a whole chapter on pets, because there's some really exciting research on melatonin for dogs.
Interesting.
But so we can close the loop on that melatonin thing, though. Like, when do you take it? Do you take it at night? Because I find that when I take melatonin, I started taking melatonin just to try it for sleep purposes. I find that it actually disturbs my sleep. Like, it wakes me up.
Yeah. Well, that's paradoxical. I knew something was wrong with you when I met you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong.
Gosh, man. So it's really, some people have that, and I've actually found people that used our products and didn't have that same reaction. So it could be that there's an excipient in that melatonin.
Uh-huh.
I asked Russell Ryder, who's kind of considered like the foremost authority on melatonin, about this exact subject. And he says, looking through the research, there's no indication of anybody having that effect in any of the studies.
Right. But now when you take the high dose, when we're talking high dose,
200 milligrams.
We're talking about 200 milligrams, right?
Yeah.
And so, do you take that to sleep? Like at night, or can I take it during the daytime?
Well, with our cancer patients or our degenerative neurological cases, we'll have them take it night and day.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of people, they could take it during the day and then they convert it at night.
Yeah. I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna try high doses during the daytime.
And if I'm not wrong, 95% of melatonin is produced inside the mitochondria.
That's right. Just a small amount is in the pineal that's dealing with that other rhythm. We talked about the rhythm of fasting and feeding. Well, this other rhythm of the circadian rhythm, right? That's like the big daddy, right? The sleep wake cycle. And so the pineal produces and releases a very small amount of melatonin, but it has to be total blackness. That's why we want to make sure we cover our windows and sleep.
I sleep with a mask.
Yeah.
Even though my room is dark, I still sleep with a mask
You
wherever
know,
I go.
EMFs, they go through your whole body, right? Like they go through everything, right? And it goes, and when the EMFs are hitting the pineal actually picks that up as sunshine. And that's why EMFs can disturb sleep and the circadian rhythm.
Look at that. Did not know that it'll take it sunshine. Well, the good news is we had Brian Hoyer basically do the whole house. So
Nice.